Afternoon, teacher. We are the group number 6, and in this occasion, we are going to develop our learning activity number 3.
Okay. This comparative table will discuss the characteristics, similarities, and difference between contrastive analysis and interference, avoidance, error analysis, and universal grammar. Interference characteristics. It occurs when the first language interference of confuse students when they want to learn a new language. There are two types of interference, positive and negative. The positive is when the structure fits in both language, and the negative is when the L1 is used in bad way in the L2. Similarities. Confusion can be caused when learning since they are two different language, and in many cases the grammatical structures don't coincide, for which it's important to study the effects of interference in language change. Difference. They may be a singly limit vocabulary to be able to learn in a better way, and thus not have so many mistakes or confusion between L1 and L2. Another is avoidance characteristics. It's an easy and more common strategy that the students use since they limit their vocabulary so as don't have confusion or inconvenience due to misinterpretation of a word. Similarities. It's also based on learning a new language, and such as you have to be careful with the meaning give to a sentence in the L1. It can have one meaning, and in the L2 it can be used for another. And difference, students realizing that learning can be a little more complicated due to the confusion that occur between L1 and L2. Use simple words and say simple sentences that fulfill their objective. This way, they don't make many mistakes, and if they don't, they can correct it themselves.
Well, some characteristics that we have about contrastive analysis is that it focuses in comparison of two or more languages with the aim of describing their similarities and differences. Now, some characteristics that we have in error analysis are that these consider that errors are unavoidable and necessary. So it shows how learning is going on, and it considers that errors are signs of positive language development. Now, some similarities that we have between contrastive analysis and error analysis are that contrastive analysis was used to predict error, to assimilate that error and difficulty can be equated. Another similarity is that occurs by the native language of students because they can confuse a lot of among words and accents, and we got that conclusion with the use of contrastive analysis. So, contrastive analysis and error analysis are a lot of time working together. Now, and the difference that we have between them are the contrastive analysis focuses in similarities and differences among languages, and error analysis was the first approach to study the second language acquisition, and it substituted the contrastive analysis. And of course, it focuses in error like a way of develop the new languages. Now, we are going to talk about the universal grammar. Well, some characteristics of universal grammar are that it is an influential theory of language acquisition, and so important is that it considers that knowledge of a grammar is the mind as a made up two components. that are principles and parameters. And now some similarities that we have between contrastive analysis and universal grammar are that they are thus universal with whatever language and can analyze how humans acquire languages. And now the difference between among them, is that universal grammar focuses not only on what constitutes a language or what knowledge constitutes a language, but also how this knowledge of language is acquired. And contrastive analysis focuses in the differences among languages, not in general rules that they may have.
Good evening, Dermis. We have comparative table like interference. Um, the characteristics is the people or the students learning in L1. Um, is a concept and language acquisition. We have similarities because it's tactile and explicit knowledge in the minds of the second language learning, and the difference is this described various theoretical relationships. Uh, we have avoidance. This is a process of the person or animal about negative stimulus. Similarity is find result that with a stimulus. The difference is the learning learns by L1 grammar. We have error analysis. This main characteristic is so relevant. Error finding, writing, and speaking this point. And the simulator is working in action. The difference is have other mental faculties. Universal grammar. Uh, the main characteristic is human possess innate faculties. When the simulator gauge response, and the difference is the learning is L2 grammar.
Compare avoidance with error analysis and universal grammar. Characteristic avoidance. It is characterized by the substitution of required forms for simpler ones due to lack of knowledge. Error analysis. It is characterized by comparing and analyzing grammatical errors in mother tongue and target language. And universal grammar, the hypothesis that all language, no matter how different they may be, share a certain degree of similarity. Similarities. Advanced error analysis and universal grammar useful for improving the performance and production of speech. And differences. Advanced use simple words or structure to express themselves due to lack of familiarity with the language. Error analysis use errors as a part of the learning process because they are inevitable. A universal grammar learner has basic new language structure. So, it's important for the teacher to be able to identify avoidance and errors so that he or she can design plans that take these details into account. This will help students to improve their performance in the process of learning a second language. Thank you.
Good evening, Magister. I talk about universal grammar versus error analysis. Universal grammar is an language knowledge consists of the abstract mental representation of language and the computational mechanism associated with it, which the entire human process calls competence, not performance. Explain how humans acquire language. This proposed that the human mind must have some built-in mechanism that assists the learner in the acquisition process. There that support the existence of an innate language faculty in children are the stage of development are similarly among children, but there is a variety in the pace. Mm, the child's language is role government and systematic. Processing capacity limits the number of rules that are applied at any given time. On the other hand, error analysis it highlights that the student's native language is not the only reason for making errors in the target language. The classification of the errors that are identified is usually not appropriate. Um, Analysis of second language learning errors can help identify the learner's linguistic difficulties and needs at a particular stage of language learning. In general, error analysis has several implications for manager learner errors in the classroom. As follows: one, design corrected measures; two, prepare a sequence of target language elements in classroom and textbooks with the difficulty elements after the easier ones. Three, make suggestions about the nature of the errors. Thank you.